Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is July 8th, and right now we're looking at the visible satellite imagery. You can see the marine layer banked up against the coastline. Pretty typical here for summer. Some of this will be burning off during the afternoon hours. On the GOES 18 satellite imagery, you can see that snow still across some of the higher terrain of the Sierra Nevada here. But the big story here coming up is the heat that's going to be existing here for at least the next week across much of the Southwest, including portions of California. The ridge may develop across California here through the extended forecast. We'll take a look at that in some detail. Some signs that monsoon trying to creep into the southern and southeastern zones of Arizona. We'll take a look at that as well. But for the most part, much of the region here is going to be below average temperatures here for the next couple of weeks. Now, taking a look at this day in Southern Cal weathered history, check out the Santa Ana, recorded 2/200 of an inch of rain, a small amount, but the greatest daily rainfall for July here. So it doesn't take much to set some records here. And every once in a while, it does rain in Southern California. This is fire weather watch. So we're going to have a system that's going to move through, but it's mainly dry. It's going to create some of these gusty winds here, and the relative humidity are going to be very low. So any fires that develop can spread rapidly. So don't burn outdoors unless you absolutely have to. This is looking at Phoenix, Arizona. And for Phoenix to put out wording like this, you know it's going to be hot. Look at this heat risk builds to major and extreme levels coming up here. And you're talking about a week plus of this long duration heat wave here. So we'll be watching that closely here over the next few days. We'll take a look at this in more detail here in a moment as well. Fire weather outlook is elevated across much of Arizona, some of Utah as well. And this is for tomorrow. Check it out, critical across some of Las Vegas down there on into Arizona as well with that dry system that's going to move through. We'll take a look at that here in a moment as well. But this is looking at relative humidity here, and you can really see just how dry it gets in the afternoon and evening hours across the deserts of California, across the Las Vegas area, in through Arizona. You can see the moisture not yet improving across a lot of Arizona as far as the monsoon is concerned. You can see a little bit of encroaching into the southern zones. We may start to get some thunderstorms down here over the next few days. We'll take a look at that in a little bit of detail here, but for the most part, again, pretty dry across the area for the next couple of weeks. This is looking at that system. No precipitation associated with it, but you can see why the winds are going to be increasing across some of the deserts of California up towards Las Vegas and increase that fire danger. As you can see it swinging through here. That brings a little bit of an increased gradient here as we go through Sunday. This is looking at composite reflectivity. I wanted to show you that system. Do you see anything? Nope, no precipitation associated with that. But if you do look across some of the southern zones, you can see a little bit of thunderstorm activity trying to pop up. Extreme southern Arizona there. We go through Sunday, a little bit more activity here. So maybe the monsoon is trying to show a little bit of signs of life here, but for the most part, it's not going to make its way up towards Phoenix or anything of that nature. This is looking at total precipitation in inches. We're going to go out 144 hours here on the European. You can see a little bit of that thunderstorm activity across southern Arizona, eastern Arizona there, but not much at all across Nevada or California. And this goes all the way out through Thursday night, shown here. This is day one thunderstorm outlook, just clipping northern California, maybe some of northern Nevada here, southeast Arizona, and day two, something similar here, but no longer for northern California. Now look at Phoenix on the GFS. The average high is about 107, so that's downright hot as it is. And then we're expecting above average temperatures to continue on at least a week plus at this point. We'll just put it that way, and we'll continue to watch this trend as we go through the next few days. This is Los Angeles, right around average, maybe a little bit above here as we go through the following weekend here as that ridge tries to build over California here. But, if you want to cool down, definitely get out towards the coastlines. This is the GFS 2-meter temperature anomaly here. So this is day at a time. So you can kind of see California a little bit below average here, but that's going to change. As you can see, things are just scorching hot already across much of the Southwest this time of year. And you can see above average temperatures are just relentless here as we go on into the extended. I mean, look at this. A lot of California well above average here. And Arizona, like I said, baking this time of year. And then you add this on top of it. Just downright brutal conditions out there heat-wise. Now, taking a look at the upper levels of the atmosphere, 18,000 feet, you can see this ridge kind of existing down here across some of the desert southwest. And you'll notice this kind of build in here and just kind of dominate the weather here over the next few days on in through next week. And this ridge even shows signs of building here across California as we go through the extended forecast. I mean, look at this. kind of brutal here. This would bring some pretty warm temperatures across the state of California and probably melt the remaining amount of snowpack across the recording stations there for the Sierra Nevada. But yeah, pretty interesting signal here as we go on towards 200 hours there. And this is kind of looking at the anomaly of the pressure at 18,000 feet, and you can see that ridge build. I'm just going to scroll ahead here, and you can see this is unusual for this time of year. That's why it's going to bring these above average conditions here. And look at California's move out towards the 200-hour period on last night's GFS run here. Big ridge incoming here, folks. We're going to watch that one closely. This is 6 to 10 day precipitation probability outlook here, the bullseye. And maybe some moisture trying to creep into the south portions there, but this is 8 to 14 days, so not much relief for much of the area here. This goes through July 21st. 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlook here, and you can see Phoenix already averages 107 here, and then you're looking at what, 33, 40, 50, 60% chance of being above average through this time period on in through July 17th. This is looking at the entire state of California, the snow water equivalent here. And you can see we're down about 1.5 here, still close to the 90th percentile there. And still, that's a decent amount of water. If you melt it all at once, that's a lot of water coming down off the mountain. So still some residual flooding here, still feeding some of the streams. And Lake Tulare, for example, down there as well. Or Tulare, did I pronounce that wrong? I might have. Anyway, so taking a look at significant wildland fire potential outlook, and I showed this yesterday, and you can see a lot of the Sierra Nevada, Northern California below normal fire potential. That is good news, but not all the Southwest shares that. As you can see, some portions of Nevada, Utah, and Arizona above normal for the month of July. Here we go into August, Pacific Northwest bullseye there, but a lot of the Sierra Nevada there below average and on in through September even. So kind of a nice benefit here from the very wet spring and winter that we had last year, and maybe we'll continue that again. Depends on how this El Nino shapes up here, but we could keep some of that water going across some of the Central Valley here as we go on in through next year. But anyway, be prepared for the heat. It's going to last a while too, especially across places like Arizona. Then California looks like it's going to warm up a lot here as that ridge really sets up shop here off the West Coast of North America. So we'll watch this closely. Hopefully it doesn't get too crazy, and hopefully we can bring some precipitation down to the areas that start to typically get it this time of year. But otherwise, click like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.